and specifically acceptance versus tolerance. You don't necessarily prefer their absence, but you're definitely not trying to pull them into your group. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Remember, if you're looking for cute pet videos, you're looking for my shorts, if you're looking for information on being neurodivergent in a neurodivergent world, you're looking for my long format, and then arts and crafts are going to be mixed in with both. And today is going to be me painting these, but me talking about neurodivergence in a neurotypical world, and specifically acceptance versus tolerance. And I touched on this in my last video where I was talking about the way people classify other people, and that neurotypical people tend to classify other neurotypical people that they know in the tolerated or accepted category, and that neurotypical people tend to classify the neurodivergent people they know into avoided or derided category. And I want to talk about the difference between acceptance and tolerance, because a lot of people seem to make the statement that, tolerance is the goal, and that's really not. Tolerance just means that you're not actively avoiding or actively bad-mouthing a particular person. It doesn't mean that you like being around that person, or that you accept that person the way they are, or that you are willing to engage with that person even though that person has differences to you. And this can be brought to other aspects. It doesn't have to be a neurotypical versus neurodivergent thing. It can be a race thing. It can be a pride community versus straight community thing. It doesn't have to be neurodivergent versus neurotypical, but I fall into the neurodivergent versus neurotypical category of this. So that's the aspect that I'm going to be talking about it. But remember that you can apply this to all aspects where you simply don't want a person around you, where you have shunned that person based on some physical attribute of that person, or some choice by that person. It could be their religion, it could be their mode of transportation even. So let's look at the difference between tolerance and acceptance. Tolerance means that a person that you are near is not actively derided, not actively shunned, not actively chided, not actively talked bad about. They're just somebody that you allow into the vicinity of you, but you don't prefer their presence. You don't necessarily prefer their absence, but you're definitely not trying to pull them into your group. You're not trying to make them part of your own personal community. So they're just tolerated. They're there. They're not told to go away. They're not actively moved away from. They're there. And then there's acceptance. And acceptance means that you actually listen to this person. You actually value this person's input. You actually value this person's presence in your life. You enjoy having them as a companion. And that doesn't mean that they're your friend. That doesn't mean that you would go out of your way to help this person. But it also means that you won't go out of your way to exclude that person. That person is an acceptable portion of your interaction on a daily, weekly, monthly, however often you're around that person, time frame. And it's important to understand that being accepted is a lot different from being tolerated. When someone is just tolerated, they can tell. And if you've ever just been tolerated, you know what I'm talking about. And tolerance is something that has happened in everybody's life at some point in time. You were on a baseball team and you weren't very good, so they let you sit on the bench, but that was it. Or, any other sports team. You could use the same analogy for. Or you were trying to qualify for some form of competition. And you didn't qualify, but they didn't tell you to leave. They just let you sit around. They didn't really want you there, but they weren't actively telling you to go away. And that's just tolerance. And tolerance weighs heavy on a person after a while, because the tolerated person knows that they're just being tolerated. The tolerated persons knows that they're not actually welcome. They're just not actively shunned. And I think it's important for neurotypical people to understand that neurodivergent people aren't looking for tolerance any more than any of the other categories that I spoke about earlier, I would assume, aren't looking for just tolerance either. So why don't we as a group move towards acceptance? Because everybody has something valuable to donate to a conversation or to exhibit in a workplace. We don't have to be set aside. We're quirky. I'm back to talking about neurodivergent people. We're quirky. We have quirks. A lot of them are social quirks. But we have value too. And when you actually accept us, you'll start to see our value instead of just tolerating our presence. So that's my thought for today. Until I see you again, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Remember that you are awesome and you are amazing, and stay here with us.